Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back to Learn to Read Quran. So today we're going to move on from what we did last time. So I don't know if you remember, but last time we looked at this page, which was the long vowels. We were stretching the fatha. And we saw that we can stretch the fatha by an alif. So that's just a very quick recap of what we did last time. If you need more of a recap than that, then please look at the video that goes with this lesson. But today what we'll do is we'll move on and we'll look at the next page, which is stretching the kasra. Well, we have three vowels. We have the fatha, we have the kasra, we have the dhamma. So you can guess we're going to be able to stretch each of them. So the fatha was used, the alif was used to stretch the fatha. What do we use to stretch the kasra? Well, we use the letter ya. But this ya, when you look at it, here you can see there is no vowel on it, no sukoon on it. It has nothing except for just the letter sat there. And when you see that, after a letter with a kasra, you get a 2-count stretch. And I think you'll get this quite easily if you've absorbed the previous lesson where we stretched the fatha. So let's start reading. We've got a fa with a kasra, which just by itself is just short, just fi. But as I said, if you have a ya after it, you now get a 2-count stretch here. So you have fi, and this is a 2-count stretch. Fi, he. So you can see the ha at the end was just short because it had a kasra without any stretch. Let's carry on. Off with a kasra and a ya after it with nothing on, no vowel. That's very important. No vowel, no sukoon. So when it has no vowel and no sukoon and it follows a letter with a kasra, then you get this 2-count stretch. So this becomes qi, and that's a 2-count stretch. Qi la. Let's carry on. Ta mi. This is your 2-count stretch. Da, because the ma had a kasra, so you had mi, and then you had the ya after it with nothing on, no vowel, no sukoon, so it became a stretching ya, and it stretches the sound of the kasra. You don't really hear the sound of the ya, you just hear the e noise being elongated. So ta, mi, da. And then the last example on the line, he, na. Let's move on. I'm sure you've already got the hang of it already. So line 2, we've got a fa with a kasra, and underneath it is written here the ya, and the ya has nothing on it, no vowel, no sukoon, and you might say, gosh, it doesn't even have any dots, but if that's a surprise to you, then you do need to go back because you will know by now that a ya which comes at the end of a word doesn't carry any dots. The dots are only there to show the ya as a ya at the beginning or the middle of a word. So here, this word here on line 2 is fi, and that's the 2-count stretch. Then I've got a ra, and a ra is thick and heavy because it has the fatha, and I'm going to join it to this ba. Why am I joining? Because of the shadda, and the shadda, I will join it, I will give enough time for the pronunciation of 2 bas because the shadda tells me that I have a double ba there. So I have rabbi. This is the 2-count stretch. So I join to the ba, then I pronounce the kasra after giving time enough for 2 bas, and then I stretch the kasra for 2 because of the ya following that kasra. Let's carry on. We have a ta with a fatha, and it's joining to a jim. And the jim with the sukoon, that's why I can join because of the sukoon. Jim with the sukoon is a qalqala letter. That's the bouncy letter. So I've got taj, ri, and there's the 2 count stretch on the ra. Ra with the kasra we know is light, and the whole of that 2 count stretch is light as well. Then I've got a off with a fatha. Hopefully you can hear the ah noise is thick and heavy, and I'm making that thickness by bunching up the back of my tongue, thickening up the back of my tongue. The tongue is elevated at the back, the whole of the sound gets elevated. So we have qab, and this, as you can hear, is another bouncy letter, another qalqala letter when it has a sukoon. Ba is a letter of qalqala. And then a lam with a kasra, with a ya. So this is li, and this is the 2 count stretch. So the whole of it is qaba, li. Line 3. Fa, ri. There's the 2 count stretch, the ra had a kasra, followed by a ya with nothing, no vowel, no sukoon, and so therefore that ya is acting as a stretching mechanism for the kasra. Fa, ri, on. Ya, zi. There's the 2 count stretch. Do. Ya, he, qu. You, me, do. Okay, let's keep reading. Line 4. A, li, men. Na, si, tu. Ya, ti, him. Ri, hun. You, ri, do. Ha, ri, run. So here on this word, you really can hear the difference between when a ra is light and a ra that's heavy, because you have a ra with a kasra here with the 2 count stretch, and that's going to be light because of the kasra. So we've got ha, ri, and then the ra with the 2 dammas, ra with damma or fatha, whether there's 1 or 2 of those vowels there, so 2 fathas or 1 fatha, 2 dammas or 1 damma, it's still going to be heavy. So I've got run, and you can hear that thickness, that heaviness with the 2 dammas there. Let's move on. Qa, li, there's the 2 count stretch. Lan. Now this is where we have the lam. Let's just take some of my scribblings away. So we have the lam, and we have the alif here, which isn't being pronounced, but it's just there holding up those 2 fathas. So the lam is pronounced with those 2 fathas, so it's lan. Then I've got kaf with a fatha. Let's just take that off. Kaf with a fatha, ka. Ri, mun. Line 6. Di, na, hum. Noon joining to the jeem, and hopefully you recognize that the jeem is a bouncy qalqala letter. Naja, zi. There's your 2 count stretch. Now here you have a lam with a fatha, and look everyone, there's that little tiny hanging alif. So here we have a 2 count stretch. La, I, bi, na. So in this word we got 2 lots of 2 count stretches. The first time a stretch of a fatha for 2, and the second time a stretch of a kasra for 2. Ha, si, dan. Wa, taf, Si, la. So why did I spend time on the fa with the sukoon? Hopefully you'll all be chanting out because every letter with sukoon should get a bit more time so that you can hear either the sound or the air that will flow through it, so you can hear its characteristics on the letter when it has a sukoon. So wa, taf, and you can hear the fa has lots of air, lots of sound. Si, la. Fa with a fatha and alif. So yes, you are right. This is a 2-count stretch. Fa, ki, he, na. So another word with 2 lots of 2-count stretches. The first time with the fatha, the second time here on the kasra. Then a meme joining to a jim, and I know I don't need to tell you now that that's a qalqala letter. Muj, ri, mi, na. So what's going on this bottom line? What is this little squiggly thing? Is it a misprint? No, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, it's not. This is as it should be, and this is actually how a little ya can look. So this here is a little ya, just like we've met the little alif, yeah? We had a little alif here. We can also get little years as well. Doesn't look anything like a year. I know. I used to think the same thing. But you just have to get used to the fact that this is a little year. So we have B, I, ba, 2-count stretch. Hope you didn't miss that one. That was ba with a fatha and an alif. That gave us a 2-count stretch. D, he. This is a 2-count stretch. A ha with a kasra, followed by a ya. Well, yes, it is a ya, tiny little ya. This still gives us a 2-count stretch, just like the little tiny hanging alif gave us a 2-count stretch after a letter with a fatha. Then we've got a fa joining to a bod. Now this is a challenge and a half. Fa bod, when it has a sukoon, wow. It is one of the, I'd say it's the king of all the Arabic letters, because it's difficult to reach in the sense of it's the back of your tongue gently pressing against the roof of your mouth. The back of the tongue gently pressing against the roof of the mouth until you almost reach the tip. You don't reach the tip with this letter of the tongue. Fab. And hopefully you can all hear that kind of, I think it sounds a bit like a sink plunger noise, to be honest, but okay, whatever you want to call it, it is this elongated noise. Fab. Li, he. There's the 2-count stretch with the kasra and the little ya. Then I've got ba with the kasra, b. Ah. Hear how much time I gave to that ha, because yes, every letter with a sukoon gets a little bit more time. So b, li, he. 2-count stretch. A ya with a damma joining to a ha. Now this ha comes from the middle of the throat, so it does sound, I think, a bit like a wind tunnel. Yuh. This is that one here. Yuh. Yee. I had a ya with a kasra, with a tiny little ya. That gave me a 2-count stretch. So well done, everyone. We've now looked at the long vowel of Kasra, and we've seen that we can stretch the Kasra with a ya. Importantly, that ya must have no sukoon, no vowel on it. It must just be empty above it, and therefore its only job will be to stretch the Kasra before it for 2. Well done, keep practicing, and I'll see you all again next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.